Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. I'm Lil Smurdy. So in this video, as you can see, I am timing a 20 Skyreach. This was my second to last 20 key, so I decided to do a commentary on it, and we'll see if you guys like a commentary. I know some of you guys have asked for like a action tracker and such, so I will get that in, but for now I'm just gonna comment it. Basically tell you guys what I'm doing while I'm doing it and stuff. So as you saw previously, I waited to kick the first ad, so we get that out of the way, and then I used all my cooldowns and Fist of Fury, Zenith Stomp, and Fist of Fury. Basically just trying to get out as many Fist of Fury as possible during your cooldowns and lust. And I also try to use Fortifying Brew as fast as I can on the pool, but I also need to wait to see if the Blade Talon is gonna hit me with Blade Rush, and if it hits me with Blade Rush then I use it instantly, and if not I'll just wait a bit for when the birds, the Dread Ravens, does some AoE. So that's when you want to use it, and then you want to save karma for this right now, that knockback you get. If you get that on a high key, you want to use karma as well. You can survive without karma, but it's gonna hit you down for like 80-90%. So if they do the bird AoE after that, you're dead. So you want to use karma just to be safe. And also a lot of damage here on this pull, but the most important part on this pull is to just nuke Blade Talon as fast as possible, and also kick the free casters, but it shouldn't be too hard because you realistically have 4 or 5 kicks in the group, so the kicks shouldn't be an issue. And if you feel scary, you can use your ring or stun and zap, etc. And as I said, like hard prio the Blade Talon because he does Blade Rush, and that is a insane amount of damage. That's what you want to prioritize. Besides that, nothing specific on this pull. If you have cooldowns back, you can use Fortifying Brew or Karma during Blade Rush if it hits you. I always place my teleport there in the middle in case I need to like port quick to dodge stuff. And the reason I ping there is because when you get this Gale Rush or Gale Surge or whatever it's called, then you can just loss it behind the
AOE
stairs where I'm
incoming.
pinging. Not many people know about it, but on higher keys it's
Granted.
definitely needed because you it doesn't put any mark on the ground, and it also does no damage for you. So yeah, you lose damage for a few
Frontal.
seconds, but considering you take no damage and there's
AOE
no pool on the
incoming.
ground, it's definitely worth
Watch your
doing it.
step.
And besides that, the entire fight is pretty simple. It's just a noob fight. Make sure you don't die.
Debuff on you.
Avoid stuff like, as you saw there, I wanted to go back there and I probably could have, but
AOE incoming.
considering there was a swirl going to me, I needed to go there and then I needed to insta teleport. That's
Frontal.
why I put my teleport there in the stairs where I am now to avoid it. I could have done it, but I didn't want to risk it, so I went back into the middle
Frontal.
and I used karma as well to mitigate the damage.
AOE incoming. Watch your step.
Then, as I said, there's not really much more to talk about on this fight. Like, avoid stuff, do as much damage as you can, and if you get the Gale Surge, don't do as the Paladin do. I mean, you could go far away because
AOE incoming.
realistically it shouldn't affect you if you do full physical comp, but it's still better to
Frontal.
go around the corners and drop it like that. And then you just avoid these frontals. Just go back and
Frontal.
forward in front of the boss, behind the boss, and that's all.
AOE incoming.
Pretty
Watch your
straightforward and
step.
simple boss, but it's definitely a noob check because there is a lot of things that you can get hit by. And trust me, I've done
Debuff on you.
probably around 50 plus attempts on this, and there's always someone that dies on first boss.
AOE
Just how
incoming.
it is, you know, when there's a lot to dodge and you have to do damage at the same time, it gets
Frontal.
too much sometimes. But as you saw previously there, I just walked behind and there's no swirly, no damage going out.
Frontal. AOE incoming.
Then the
Watch your
rotation
step.
is pretty similar, like prioritize Fist of Fury, Rising Sun Kick, and Sinistomp when you have cooldowns. That's
Debuff
basically
on
it.
you.
Right here I have it, I go back, and then I teleport, but I do it a bit late, so I get hit,
AOE
but luckily
incoming.
it doesn't one-shot me. But it could be scary in that situation,
Frontal.
so if I were smarter there, I probably would have gone into middle and dropped it, but it worked out, so can you do?
Frontal. AOE incoming. Watch your step.
And the only scary thing on this boss is the furthest
AOE
to the
incoming.
edge swirly, because that's the only one that can hit you when you're hugging the stairs like we are. And then this next pull is pretty standard. It's basically up to the tank to kite if he needs to, and basically it's the adept that does bleed damage on the tank, so you want to kill those fast, but you also want to kill the solar orb because he drops the solar orb guy. So you want to prioritize killing the orbs. So in that way you want to prioritize killing the elemental, but you also want to kick. So yeah, basically on this pack you just want to kill everything on the pack. So usually you want to save cooldowns. If the first boss has like 10-15% left, it's better to save cooldown for this pull and the next pull. And then this pull is scary, but we are doing free constructs. If you have a good healer that can handle it, like we do, you should definitely do it. But you need to make sure that people use defensive spell reflex and everything when they get targeted by the construct. And you also want to make sure that your healer can actually handle it. So this is also a pull where you definitely want to use your cooldowns. And yeah, that's basically it. This pull is pretty simple if you have a good healer and if you have people that know how to press your defensives. And then you want to, of course, hard prio. You still want to hard prio one of the constructs to get him down quick because it's still a really hard pull and they do a lot of damage. And you also want to make sure you have health potions for any case of the dungeon, because there's a lot of things that can do a lot of damage and basically make sure you survive, and you also help the healer and stuff. So health potion is definitely a thing to have. Then I get targeted here again, and I was like, shit, I think I'm gonna die, so I have to pot there to be safe. Maybe the healer would have had me, but it's still better to pot to make sure you don't die. Then I
Soak
write here
beam.
that I juggle because on this boss, when you soak the beams, there's only 3 beams, but there's 5 of you. If the tank is good, he can usually soak one of the beams after like 1 or 2 hits from the tank debuff thingy. But the other DPS that is not taking a beam should run around
Soak
like I
beam.
do here to juggle it, because then the beams do no damage at certain times, and it basically makes they do less ticks. And it's a very big and important thing for this game. Or for this boss
AOE
rather,
incoming.
sorry. So make sure whoever is not soaking the beams, make sure that guy is always juggling. Then I'm also holding my cooldowns
Soak
here
beam.
because, as you see, Lust is soon up, so I want to use cooldowns with Lust. I think I ended up pressing them a bit early, but either way, it's still good. It's still good, and usually you don't wanna hold your cooldowns at any point, in my opinion. But
Soak
if it's
beam.
with Lust, like Lust will benefit you so much as a Windwalker. So if you can get cooldowns with Lust, you want to do it. As I said, like Windwalker is usually like one of the
AoE
weaker
incoming.
specs in survivability wise and defensive wise. So that's why I want to take the role as the juggler. Because yeah, you can survive with your defensives,
Soak
but
beam.
it's a lot of pressure on the healer. So if one of the plates or etc. can soak it, you want to let them do it. But then at the same time, you don't want to not take the beam because maybe they are thinking the same thing. So you also want to make sure that someone is taking the beam, of course, because if you don't soak the
Soak
beams,
beam.
they're gonna hit the boss, and then this explosion is gonna do a lot of damage and probably kill you. So yeah, you use Bloodlust on the first pull, and then on this boss, and then on last boss if you have it up. But you usually do,
AoE incoming.
unless you're super fast.
Soak beam.
And then when the boss is below 15% HP, you can just touch of death it. Usually you can wait until he's like low, like below 400k or something to one-shot him to do more damage, but in my opinion I think it's
Soak
better to
beam.
just use it whenever he's below 15% to get the boss to die quicker. And then you can see I have my cooldowns back here, but usually I don't think it's really needed to use it on this pull because usually some guy uses it and it usually dies pretty quick. So I decided to hold my cooldowns to nuke boss instead because we do a lot of damage as a Windwalker monk on single target even though we're AoE spec. So it's just better to use it on boss here in my opinion. And then I use ring to stop the CC when they get targeted. You can also use sap, stun, etc. to make sure that the little ads die before um, they can charge you or follow you. As you can see here, like the ret is doing a lot of damage on this pull, so he probably used cooldowns. The warrior and tank is doing solid damage, and I'm doing shit damage without cooldowns, but it's still worth it because I can now do a lot of damage on this boss to kill it quicker. Here, Fist of Fury, Rising Sun Kick, cooldown, seen if seen it.
Ads coming.
Fist of Fury, Rising Sun Kick, Whirling Dragon Punch, Spinning Crane Kick. And then I always use the ring on the first ad on every wave of this boss because you can cleave it down faster. And then you can also stun it if
Ads
needed
coming.
if it doesn't die quick enough. And you also want to
Break
use
line of
cooldowns
sight.
here whenever the ads are up because they do a lot of damage. You can get some free damage and then quickly hide behind so you don't get hit by that frontal thingy. You can also stand there and heal because you're melee, so if the ad is not close, you might as well use your energy to heal yourself. Less stress on the healer, less mana used and
Ads
stuff.
coming.
And once again here, if you have a cooldown up, you can use a defensive to mitigate the damage. You use the ring to hold the ad in the position, and stun if needed. And apparently you can stand in
Ads
that
coming.
fire ring that spawns from the ad. It doesn't do any damage. I've never knew this,
Break line of
so
sight.
I've just stood beside it just to be safe. And then get as much damage as you can on the ad, and then you need to hide when the frontal comes.
Ads coming.
Using the ring once again, because you can cleave it faster so it doesn't go anywhere.
Ads coming.
And then you also want to make sure that right now you see I have my cooldowns up,
Break
but
line of
when the
sight.
second ad spawns, he's gonna fly away. So you want to hold your cooldowns for whenever this ad is dead and the frontal is over, so you don't lose out on any damage at all. And right here I use my cooldowns instantly.
Ads coming.
Then sadly there I got hit by aggro from the boss because I think the tank wasn't in line or wasn't close enough. And I also managed to do a very, very bad ring here. Luckily it's not too bad because we still kill it pretty fast. But yeah, it's not what you
Ads
want to
coming.
see, especially not in the higher case, when time is of the essence.
Break line of sight.
Then here, same as before, you kill the ads as much as you can and then hide. And you can also do some self-healing if the ad is still far away. If it's close, you can just kill it. Usually
Ads
if you do
coming.
you could use your cooldowns here or previously on the ad and then on the boss, because on the next area it's the entire skip phase and stuff, so it's usually like 30 extra seconds or 40 seconds where you don't really do anything. So you can basically, you're gonna get your cooldowns back for the next pack. And then here is the skip. It's a pretty standard skip. You just jump when the tornado comes to get over, and then you just wait for tornadoes and you just flying serpent kick up to start the clicking thingy quick, so the rest of the people can get over without any chance of getting hit by the tornadoes. As you can see here, the warrior is very slow, sadly, for some reason, but we have to wait for him. I wanted to go and speed him, but he heroic leaped, so he came at an okay time. And then on this pool, I would say you want to prioritize killing the Blade Talon, because it's still the guy that will do a lot of damage. The Solar Elemental isn't too bad as long as you prio the orb when it's up. So in my opinion, hard prio the Blade Talon, and I also use my cooldowns twice here because you have 1 minute cooldowns, and I use the first one pretty early, so by the time this pack is gonna be dead or like mid pack next pack, I'll have my cooldowns back, so it's not the end of the world. And as you can see there, I got hit by Blade Rush from Blade Talon, so I use Fortifying Brew to mitigate the damage. And then if the elemental is low when the orb has spawned, you want to prioritize killing the elemental, because when you kill the elemental, the orb disappears. So keep that in mind as well when there is elemental in the pack, because there is like 3 or 4 elementals you do in the dungeon. As you see here, right at the start of this pack, I have cooldowns back, even though I used cooldown twice on the previous pack. And then on this pack, I would say you prioritize the elemental, because then you can chain with to the next pack if you want. As you can see here, tank is already going to the next. And on this pack, Blade Talon hurts a lot, and so does Construct, but in my opinion I would say the Construct does more damage, so you want to prioritize killing the Construct and kicking the casters. And once again, cooldown back on this pack as well. It's very nice to have 1 minute cooldown, and 2 charges of Zenith, so you'll have cooldowns up on almost every packs on higher keys. And then once again, like hard focus the construct, and if the construct charges you or the blade talon hits you with blade rush, like here, you want to use your defensives. I use karma to mitigate it a bit. And then you want to kill this guy before you pull next, but it's not too bad if he's low. And I was very close to ring that caster, but someone kicked him, so that's nice. Can save ring for another moment. And then on this pack, I would say normally you want to focus the bird because he does AoE that hurts a lot, and the elemental doesn't really do any damage besides spawning that orb, which can be like a little bit of a time waste, but if you hard prior it, it's gonna die within like 3 seconds, and you can still AoE other things while you're killing the orb, so it's not too bad. So prioritize killing the Dread Raven on this pack, I would say. And whenever the orb spawns, you just swap to it and hard focus it down. And there I wanted to be cool and teleport back, but I placed my teleport where he pulled the initial pack and he kited a lot, so. And then here you could run here to where the boss is and place your teleport just in case you get hit by the bird and people don't have enough DPS to kill you out. You can just TP back. So make sure you place your teleport there just to be safe, because you never know what happens. Maybe you lose a DPS mid-fight and you don't have a res or something like that. So it's just like a safety thing. And then while Lust is up, and if you have a good group, good DPS, you can focus the boss the entire time and just cleave the ad. Because on this boss you're gonna lose a lot of DPS if you focus the ad instead of the boss. And then if you get this thingy, just run out and then run back in when the timer is low to place the fire good, so you don't go through it when you get targeted by ads and stuff. And then whenever you get that random fire debuff, use your defensives as much as you can. And also stun the ad whenever, and make sure you don't overlap with others. And it's up to the tank to just kite with the ad all the time, because you can still hit the boss and stuff while you're on the bird. And then just pay attention to your HP, because that fire debuff does a lot of damage. So make sure you use your health potion if needed, if you're low, or use your defensives whenever this debuff is active. And that's basically this entire fight. Just focus the boss and cleave the ad and kick if needed. Stun the ads when you can. If you get the laser, just run out, wait a few seconds and run back in. And then you can swap to the ad when it's low, just to touch of death it if you need, just to kill it faster and get some extra damage in. And as you can see, we had pretty good damage in this run, even though the boss is kinda low. We still have like 3.5 minutes left. So I would say Skyreach is definitely one of the easier dungeons, but at the same time it's very, very hard, because every mistake you do is crucial in this dungeon. You lose so much time if you have deaths in this dungeon compared to others, because the respawn, wherever you respawn, is very far away from where you have to go. So yeah, deaths is not great in this dungeon, or mistakes in general. Whenever the boss is low, you would want to focus the boss instead of the ad. that's it. GG. 2 minutes left with 2 deaths on a 20. Not bad. And as you can see, my damage overall isn't great, but I am sacrificing uh, damage just to have a verse flask because there is a lot of things that hurt in this dungeon, so I wanted to play it safe. So thank you for watching, guys, and please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.